take the track. Are you ready for an air show?
The show is about to begin.
On the takeoff roll. And how he makes the airplane do that is absolutely beyond my imagination. Watch it spin down from the heavens toward Carolina. You and I would be losing our lunch in this. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? That is outstanding flying, my friend. Hanging us right up on the front.
We have thousands upon thousands of viewers across all of our platforms.
It is. Oh, yes! The F-35. This has been a great day.
Wow. A rousing introduction to the episode today. Hello. This is Conversations with the Quick Flick Critic. I'm your host, John Smistad. I introduce you to a wide range of remarkably creative and inherently interesting people representing a broad spectrum spanning the world of entertainment. And is that ever true today? And we'll get into that in just a second. I invite you, as always, to listen, learn, laugh. Don't ever forget to laugh, folks. It has to be an essential ingredient of your day. Today's guests, we've got a couple. And one I'm familiar with, and one I am kind of familiar with through the one I'm familiar with. Jeff Lee and Brian Lee are father and son, and they are the power guys behind an outfit called LiveAirShowTV that we're going to talk about today. But first of all, Jeff, Brian, welcome to Conversations with the Quick Flick Critic.
Thanks, John.
Absolutely. Jeff, we're gonna start with you. Jeff and I were classmates at Baylor University, Sikkim Bears. We were communications majors. Somehow we walked off campus with a degree. We both officially graduated. That's what they told us. So we're gonna go with that. And then Jeff and I worked together in television after graduating. So we both got communications broadcasting degrees. So Jeff and I have a background. We've stayed in touch over the years. I just saw him last month. He was up for Seafair in Seattle. We'll talk about that. But every time, and it's not every day, but when we get together, it's kind of like going back to Castle Communications Center, isn't it? It's just
that's it. Picked up right where we left off.
There are people who understand that very vividly, kind of like we do. Jeff, thanks for being here. Hey, we want to start off. I want to ask you what your title is, and then and this is your baby. This is Live Air Show TV. Your title, and then what is the organization all about? What do you guys do as Live Air Show TV as a team?
So LiveAirShowTV, I'm the founder, president at this point. You got to have titles. We're not big on titles, but that's got to have them. So
Understood.
I got involved in. I've been involved in television since you and I graduated.
Yep.
Directing at TV stations or whatnot,
Yep.
And started my own business in the early 90s, mostly corporate, commercial work, stuff like that, and then connected with a guy who was deep into warbirds, antique planes, air racing, and that all came together at the 2000 Reno National Championship Air Races, where we did a show, 1 hour show on that. I didn't even know they still did that.
Yeah.
Here I am directing a show about it, and
now it's your job.
That led on then to working with some guys that were really shaking things up and changing things out in Las Vegas at the Nellis Air Force Base Air Show. And I became like the director of media productions, yet another title to toss around, and did that show for 6 years or so. Some years we were live, some years we weren't. I say live, doing to big screens, mobile LED screens. Most people call them jumbotrons, even though
jumbotrons,
that's
yep.
Right.
I remember.
And it developed over the years, and learned what this whole air show thing was about. And then in, I don't know, it was 2008, I believe it was, and I was back out at Reno. I was working with the National Aviation Heritage Invitational, which is an aircraft restoration event that happens concurrently with the races. And the guy that runs that, he and I had seen each other several times, and he'd say, how's that thing going? Because I'd told him kind of what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
But, that conversation just kept going. Yep. And the Monday morning after the races, we were sitting kind of cleaning up. We were up in like the hospitality room, if you will, that they had set up. And he was like scribbling on this little napkin. Literally, this is really one of those stories. And he handed it over to me, and it was basically, I'd like to help you get this started, because I'd hate to see this fail because it never got a chance.
Wow. How special is that, man? Yeah.
And so we shook hands, and I still that napkin's right over here now, right over my shoulder. But
it's history.
It just
important to you and your family. Yeah, absolutely.
Brian had come out to several things when we were doing it in Vegas. If we had 5 cameras, we'd put him out on 6. He was like, he was always the end of the chain, whatever the chain. We'd get him some experience, and he was out there.
Yeah.
And then he went in the military, went in the Army, and those early years, he was not as accessible as the
the military side of that. But
exactly, always has first dibs.
Yeah.
But then we just kind of continued to develop that, and started gaining this reputation within the industry of, we're not just sticking a couple of cameras out there and seeing what flies by.
Yeah.
It's always been, ESPN is, we want this to look like a real broadcast, and add as much as we can. And we've kind of done that from the start. It's a totally different show today than it was, 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, no bad.
Technology's helped that. Adding to the team has helped that. But this is so exciting and so much fun. We need to take this to people who either can't get there or had no idea. You'd be amazed.
Awareness, a big part of it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right. So it's some years we had more shows than others. Some years we did, sequestration in 2013 just nearly killed everything. But we stayed out there. And we did what I always called the non-live version of LiveAirShowTV.
Okay.
Where we were doing, air show recaps, we were doing profiles, stuff that to keep not only our face out there, but keep the interest going. Let people know that there's stuff still happening. Yeah. And we, to a degree, we continue that part even today.
That's awesome. Brian, again, we're father-son team. First of all, Brian, thanks for serving. I said that before the interview started, but that's on behalf of all Americans. Thank you for serving.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. It's always good to have support.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Brian, your title, your role in Live Air Show TV, and what you do to contribute to your dad's vision being realized here and to the team.
Yeah, so obviously a television production addict. I sadly did not get to go to Baylor, not for the lack of trying, nor to the lack of being accepted. I just kept deploying every time I got accepted to Baylor. But I did get to finally go to...
You're an unofficial member, right? Absolutely.
Finally did graduate from film school last month, LA Film School, so finish that off. We can say we're done with film school. So I am the director of operations for Live Air Show TV, and what that really means is I handle a lot of the logistics, production design, on-site logistics, planning for previous shows. Really what I do, if Jeff is the face of the company, I'm the voice, if you will, talking to new air shows, past clients, production staff, new teams. Really, that's kind of my focus. And then our third member who's not with us today, he's the general manager, so he does all the back end, that type of stuff. So,
Sure.
And then one thing that really, when I came to the team in 2012, because I'd been around, but it wasn't until then that I was like, okay, this is where we're going to do this. Dad and I had a conversation, and said, hey, if I'm going to come do this, we're gonna find a way to step out of doing it the way it's been done, and that kind of worked us into starting over with the idea of equipment, and then kind of moving up, and in doing so, against my father's best efforts of not having me get into the equipment business.
That's the first time that a son has ever gone against what is deemed
right?
proper move. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Kidding.
Yeah, so
Said joking.
we teamed up with a mentor of mine now that taught me how to do production.
Cool.
A guy by the name of Ed Lozano. And he's off doing great things now, but really taught me that you don't have to have a 53-foot truck to do a great production. And here we are now. We have our own truck. We have partnerships for other trucks, and we've really found a way to get that big production look without breaking the bank on every production. And that's really what my role is in the company now, is the technical side for the stream or the broadcast.
Okay, got it. So we want to talk about the actual shows, and I know you work with a bunch of different shows, Jeff and Brian, but I want to start off with the Blue Angels, because Jeff was up here last month and we had lunch together, and then you guys put on a live broadcast of the Blue Angels air show. That's the Navy fighter pilots air show. Wow. It's part of Seafair. Seafair is the big annual party up here in the Puget Sound area. And the Blue Angels are traditionally, and have always been, a part of the week-long festivities. And they perform on the last day when the hydroplanes run their championship races. And watching the Blue Angels, I was telling you before the interview started, this is impossible to do what these men do, and yet they're doing it. You're watching it going, this can't be happening. Talk about the Blue Angels, Jeff, and Brian. Obviously, I'm going to have you do this as well. But working with them, first of all, some technical aspects that would be interesting for us to know, but also just the men, the human souls who make up this team. I can't even pretend to understand how remarkable they are. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, of course, with Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick just coming out, there's always the best of the best, this and that.
Yep.
Like, these guys that get selected for the Blues, whether you're a solo, which is a very interesting progression that they go through, or you're one of the 4 Diamond pilots, that they do literally fly 18 inches apart.
I saw it. Yeah,
is just
Oh,
phenomenal.
yeah.
But the training that they do, that they go through down in El Centro, after selection, after the season's over in November, the new team picks up and starts going, and then they fly in Pensacola for a while, and then they head out to El Centro, California. They just go through the training. This year will actually be a change of command year, so they'll have a new boss.
Okay.
But it's these guys are phenomenal, and they truly are, except for maybe the 18 inches apart thing.
Yeah.
It's they're doing maneuvers and they're doing things that they do anyway. It's they've got to learn to do these things.
I guess we don't realize that, but yeah, no, I hear you.
I mean, even in their script, it says they're not stunts or, whatever they say, but it's, they're actual combat flying maneuvers.
Yeah.
and they're just presenting them in this more entertaining way. Yeah, I've been around them. They're great guys. That's one of my favorite stories. Actually, Brian and I both experienced this. It was 1 year down in Lakeland, Florida, at Sun and Fun, which is one of the big early shows, and we happened to be staying in the same hotel as the Blue Angels, and actually on the same floor as them.
Oh, darn. Yeah.
He and I were just walking back to our room. I went out to eat, whatever, and we're passing this one door, and it opened, and it was one of the pilots, and I had just been with them 2 or 3 weeks before out in El Centro. We were shooting some green screen stuff and things like that. Yeah. And I recognized him, of course. He recognized me, and he goes, Jeff, Frank Walleye. I said, Walleye, I know.
I know who you are, dude. Yeah.
We get it, And he turned to his wife and he said, "These are the guys that are making us look like ESPN."
Wow, how cool is that? But they appreciate it, though, man. I mean, that speaks to the man,
Yeah, they do, and so it's been fun. In some aspect, you get to know some of them a little bit better than others. There've been some years, I'm around them more. There for a while, it was more Thunderbirds, stuff that I would, we kind of saw them, and it all goes in cycles, and it's fine. But learning, the thing for us is learning what they do. Learning the sequence, knowing what's coming next.
It's vital. Sure.
Brian and I have both. He'll watch a lot longer than I do because I get so frustrated. But we'll see others try to do this, and they're just reacting. And if you're reacting, you're missing the whole thing. And so I developed notes actually based on the Thunderbirds, the very in 2005. And I went through and did then the same thing for the Blue Angels, and you just got to know what's coming next, and then map out how you're going to do that so that you don't miss anything. Now, that's not to say that we never miss anything, but
ladies and gentlemen, the lone perfect producer director in the history of broadcasting as we know. No, I watched your production. You were nailing it. You guys are damn good at what you do. But I'm sorry I interrupted, but I had to prop you up there. All right, continue, please.
One of the keys to that really is, setting up stuff. And this is one thing that has developed inside of the production truck, much like, two things, much like how the NFL and football has progressed, where the referees and the producers are really working together to tell the story. Yeah. We developed that with Air Bosses, which we can get into later, but also with the show, looking at how other things are produced, much like marching band production is. You've got the director calling cameras, but then you have, whether it's the associate director or one of the producers setting up cameras. Well, Jeff introduced me, or El Jefe Father introduced me to that type of production, and go, wow, that would work great for air shows. While he's calling, I'm working 10 seconds ahead with the cameras, setting them up. So when he's ready to call it, they're already right. The cameras are ready.
For sure. Yeah.
And I do want to say this. We have said these guys, these men, but it's very important that everybody knows Navy Lieutenant Amanda Lee is the first female F-18 demo pilot with the Blue Angels, coming this year. She's an F-18 demo pilot right now.
Yes.
But she's new to the team, not new to air shows or the industry by any means, but really excited to have her this year. And she'll join the team. Actually, she's still doing air shows now, but she'll join the team over the winter holidays and then get ready out at El Centro. So excited to see her next year.
Thanks for mentioning that, Brian. That's awesome. Yeah.
I'll tell you this, being a military pilot myself and understanding the rigors of what we do in a combat zone versus training, and then to see these pilots we talk about entertainment, right? And we forget that they're not just showmen, and they truly are. I mean, in the cockpit, in front of the crowd, working the crowd line, at dinner, they are consummate professionals, entertainers. And to be able to take that combat experience or combat flying and take it to that level of, we're going to do this dogfighting maneuver, but we're going to do it with 4 ships and we're going to put them 18 inches apart is really incredible. And they don't just go out and fly. I mean, there was a great film documentary that came out probably 15, 16 years ago about the Blue Angels, and it really got into it. And now, coming soon, probably in the next 14 months, there'll be another Blue Angels documentary done by J.J. Abrams that's really going to get after.
Oh, I got to see that. Yeah.
They go in after every brief and they pick it apart. I mean, they don't hold back. You're off by 8 inches here. You need to fix that. And they own up. Hey, I own up, and off they go. So it's more than what we see with the nation, and more importantly, a show of force with the global audience sees around the world. There's so much more to it for the Blues, and really, we're talking about the Blues here, but we can extend that to the Thunderbirds, to our jump teams, to our single aircraft demo teams in the ACC, and then all the way down to our civilian performers. So it is a really, really incredible industry to be a part of, and like Hefe has said, growing, this whole time being in it, we're fans first. And the minute you stop being a fan, the minute you stop really being able to share with the global audience just how amazing this industry is. And one of the reasons I think that we're kind of the only company that's been able to stick around in the last 20 years in this industry of storytelling through broadcasting.
Yeah. Well, you love what you're doing, and that comes through. And it's that's got to be a huge part of it to sustain like you guys have. Brian, I got to ask you, your Army, obviously the Blue Angels. The reason I talk about the Blue Angels so much is because they've been a part of Seattle lore for decades, and we're very familiar with them and appreciate what they do. But they're Navy jet fighter pilots, but you guys seem to get a lot. There's mutual respect among the military branch. I know this, but I would imagine there may be some good-natured ribbing between our Army and Navy guys and gals.
Yeah, the go Army beat Navy, go Navy beat Army thing is alive and well.
It's a little bit of a rivalry, little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and although I'm Army, I'm a warrant officer, not a command officer, so I don't necessarily have that same football mentality. If my brother-in-law is watching, I will always say, go Navy beat Army, because he's a West Pointer, and I got to jab the brother-in-law. So I have a little bit of both sides of the scale. Obviously, I'm going to root for Army, but the Navy is just amazing.
I gotcha. Wow, guys, this has been awesome. I can't thank you enough for doing these shows. I understand it's your job and your vocation, but Brian stated so well, you're bringing entertainment, but we're showing the world what we're made of. These are, as my dad would say, these are substantial people, men and women, and we know that in America, and we need to, especially during these times, remind the planet about who these men and women are and why we respect them and revere them so much. Jeff Lee, Brian Lee, father-son, power duo behind LiveAirShowTV. Guys, thank you so much for being on Conversations with a Quick Flick Critic. This has been a joy.
Thanks for having us. It's great. We love telling the story, and watch for us in the future. We've got a show coming up middle of September over in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Naval Air Station Oceana, the largest F-18 base in the world.
Wow.
And, with the Blue Angels and a bunch of other fantastic performers. It'll be great. Watch that, and then who knows what will happen after that. We'll see.
Well, more great things, no doubt. And people look up Live Air Show TV, ladies and gentlemen, and find out when these broadcasts are and watch them. I've watched them. Obviously, I'm biased and in favor of a friend here, but these are These are spectacular shows, and Jeff and Brian and their team do a remarkably exceptional job of bringing the shows to us to enjoy and just have our jaws drop at. Jeff, you know we got to do this before we go. We got to do it before we go. I'll count us down. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Sick 'em Bears.
Sick 'em Bears.
Brian, again, you're an honorary member of Bear Nation, so that you were part of that too, man. But yeah, darn right, Sick 'em Bears. We national championship this year in football and basketball, Jeff?
Could be.
Pick to the limb, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure University of Texas loves us talking like this. If there's any Longhorns out there, knock it off with the Baylor stuff. Anyway, yeah, Bear Nation is proud, and we'll see where we go in our sports teams, but they're both pretty good. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Conversation with a Quick Flick Critic. Before we go, I always have to thank another great friend, thank Bruce Threlkeld, who plays all the music for my show. Just a master musician. Bruce, thanks for doing that for the show. You can find Bruce's work and his music on his YouTube page, which is The Gig Farmer. Go there and see what Bruce is doing music-wise. It's astounding. Until next time, I wish you nothing but good things. And as always, and I say it's a catchphrase, but I mean it from my heart, listen, learn. We learned a lot today, and it's fun to learn, but it's probably more fun to laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, if laughter is not a part of your agenda, your schedule every day, make it so. All right. Until next time, goodbye, everybody. Thanks again for watching the show. Now, don't go away. I personally invite you to my YouTube channel for the after show. Head on over to the YouTube webpage and search for The Quick Flick Critic. Click on the first choice on the page, and you'll find the after show for this episode. As always, thanks so much for watching Conversations with the Quick Flick Critic. Now head on over to YouTube for the after show, everybody. I'll meet you there.